Good afternoon, everyone. So today we will be discussing, or I will be discussing about the two important study, the generative linguistics and cognitive psychology. What are the linguistics and the generative linguistics and cognitive psychology? So let's go first for the generative linguistics is a theory of language developed by Noam Chomsky. So, who is the developer of generative linguistics? It is Noam Chomsky. Generative linguistics, it focuses on the idea that the human brain has an innate ability to produce and understand language. It's natural to us to learn a language, and it emphasizes that the rules and structure like syntax that allow us to generate an infinite number of sentences from a finite set of words. So generative linguistics, here are some of the key concepts. The LAD, or language acquisition device, is believed to be a hypothetical inborn mental mechanism that enables humans to acquire and understand language naturally. It is natural to us uh, to learn language. Imagine a 2-year-old child hearing adults speaking around them. Like, no one sits down and formally teaches the child grammar rules like subject verb agreement or word order. Yet the child starts picking up the language on their own. Like, for example, the child hears mommy is eating. Later on, the child says daddy is sleeping. Even though the child has never been directly taught like the ing form for actions, they apply the same rule they heard, right, to form a new sentence. This shows that lad at work, the child's brain automatically recognizes the patterns and applies that applies them to a new situations without needing um, formal instruction, right? So the language acquisition helps the child figure out how the language works because of their innate understanding of grammar structures. Okay, next, the universal grammar is a theory proposed by Noam Chomsky, and it suggests that all humans, all human languages share a common underlying structure. According to this idea, humans are born with an innate set of grammatical rules, a kind of blueprint for language. This explains why children learn in any language they're exposed to so quickly and easily, even with limited input. Universal language provides the foundation for understanding how sentences are structured regardless of the specific language. For example, all languages have subject, verbs, and object, through their order may differ. For example, the cat is the subject, chased for verb, and the mouse is the object. So that's the um, underlying structure of generative linguistics, or the universal grammar. Okay, next, generative linguistics focus on syntax and structure, refers to studying how sentences are formed and organized, the rules and principles that govern the arrangement of words, interpret phrases, and sentences. So let's go to cognitive psychology. Let's go back here. Cognitive psychology is the study of how the mind works, how people think, how uh, we learn, remember, and solve problems. It explores mental processes like perception, memory, language, and reasoning. So that's for the cognitive psychology. the yeah, it focuses on how people think, learn, remember, and process information. So here is are the key mental processes: the perception, attention, memory, problem solving, and language. For the perception, how we interpret and make sense of sensory information from the environment. And for the attention, the ability to focus on specific information while ignoring distraction. It's the ability to focus on the specific information. So for the memory, from the word memory, the process of encoding, storing, and retrieving information. It's from the word memory, it's for storing the information, encoding, and retrieving the information, how we store the information in our mind. So the problem solving, from the word problem solving, the ability to find solutions to challenges and make decisions. And for the language, how we understand, produce, and use words to communicate. Okay, so in language, it looks at how we understand and produce speech. The cognitive psychology is how they study how we understand and produce language, and how language stored in our memory, and also how we learn new words and concepts. Okay, for the connections between the generative linguistics and cognitive psychology. Okay, for the uh, generative linguistics, like Noam Chomsky's theory focuses on the mental rules and structures that shape language, like grammar rules we unconsciously know. It's about the competence, what's in the mind, like how we know the rules of language, even if we don't always think about it or about them. For the cognitive psychology, focuses on how we apply those rules in real time, how we process, understand, and produce language. It's about performance, how we use language, how we how we use language in actual situations. Both generative linguistics and cognitive psychology studies the language and mental processes. So let's go the differences between the two. Generative linguistics focuses on language structure, while the cognitive psychology focuses on the mental processes, like how we process information or other um, language in our mind. For the generative linguistics, it emphasizes the innate grammar rules and syntax and deep words. For the cognitive psychology, emphasizes learning and memory, how we learn and how we store the informations in our brain, in our memory, and how language is understood and used. In conclusion, generative linguistics and cognitive psychology both help us understand language, but from the different perspectives. Together, they give a more complete picture of how humans acquire and understand and use language. That's all for our presentation. I hope you learned something, and thank you.